practice how to pick up stitches of an I-cord to work from it instead of an I-cord cast on. The problem with an I-cord cast on is that on the edging you might get a lot of tugs and spaces that are empty, and it's not as neat as if you work an I-cord and then pick up stitches from it so that you can work on whatever it is that you're working on. Now this is my Ixchel Pullover, and I've worked an I-cord here, and then I've picked up stitches for my first row instead of doing an I-cord cast on. Alright, so I'm going to show you today how to do that. Now this is my I-cord that I've worked and joined in the round. If you want to learn how to join an I-cord in the round, please head to the video that I've posted right over here so that you can learn how to do that. Now the reason why I do the cast on like this is because an I-cord, it tends to be less elastic than stitches. So sometimes also the neckline, especially if you're using it for a neckline, it can be too narrow and not elastic enough. So this way you can work as many rows as you want on your I-cord, and then simply pick up stitches on the edge to start working on whatever it is that you're doing. And this can be on in the round or not, or flat as well. Now I've joined my ends and I've weaved them in and tied them in, so you can't see them. But if you are going to use the same color as your I-cord, then you can simply use the tail to join the I-cord, and then use your live strand of yarn that you left at the end and pick up stitches with that live yarn. However, in this case, I'm going to use a contrasting color, and that's why I've weaved in my ends. So it's very, very easy, really. The only thing you need to do is decide which end you're going to pick up. So you have a V here, if you see the V's. So you can pick up on this side of the V or on this side of the V. And all that does is that this is going to be the edge right before your stitches. So do you want this to be the edging, or do you want this to be the edge? You see how the V's point this way here? And if I do it here, the V's point the other way. So that's all that matters, really. So I'm going to choose on this side. And all you have to do is pull your yarn through. Now, depending on how many stitches you need is the number of stitches that you're going to pick up. For example, if you need to have 20 stitches but your I-cord has 25 rows, then every fourth row you might need to skip a stitch. So let's say that, every fourth row. So let's say that I've worked 4 stitches here. This one I'm going to skip it, and then I'm going to work this one. So what that does is that it adds elasticity to your I-cord. And for example, in my sweater pattern, I give you the size that the I-cord should be, the neckline. So you can make it as many rows as you need to achieve that length. And then you simply pick up the stitches that you need. So I'm going to skip that one and go to the next one. So that is another advantage of this alternative cast on an I-cord cast on, because if you do a regular I-cord cast on, you can only have as many stitches as the rows on your I-cord, and that will obviously limit the way that your I-cord looks. So I've skipped another one. All right, so that is how I pick up stitches around my I-cord. And now, for example, on my pullover, this will be my neckline, and then I can start on my yoke on these stitches. And as you can see, there are a few little gaps there because that's where I skipped the stitches. But once you work that first row, those little gaps will disappear and it will look very nice and neat. I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe and